Welcome to Harvest Kitchen. I'm Gena, and today we're going to whip up a scrumptious Southern breakfast of biscuits and gravy casserole. Be filled with eggs and cheese and of course biscuits and gravy. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is go ahead and get our sausage ready. So let's go ahead and turn on our pan. Here we go. And here's the sausage. I'm using 1 pound. It's just a roll of your favorite breakfast sausage. Now the nice thing about this is you can use hot and spicy, you can use mild, you can use maple flavor, whatever you like. They'll all work out perfectly. Okay, to get this going, you need to go ahead and break it up just like you would a pound of ground beef. We're gonna break it up and fry it in the pan and get it ready to go. Now, while you're browning your sausage, it's really important to keep breaking it up into small little pieces. Looks like our sausage is brown and ready to be turned off. Let's go ahead and do that. And now we're going to move the sausage onto a plate. And as you can see, I've covered my plate in a paper towel so it can pick up any of the remaining grease that's left in the meat. Now I do want to use a slotted spoon though, because I want to make sure I'm leaving as much of the drippings in the pan as I can to make the gravy. Let's go ahead and get our meat out of this pan. All right, as you can see, I've gotten most of the sausage out. There's just a couple tiny little pieces, and I've got a little bit of the sausage juice left, which is perfect because we're gonna need that for the flavoring for the gravy. So let's go ahead and start the gravy now. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna melt a 1/4 cup of butter. So I've got it over a medium-low heat. Let's put the butter in and let's get that melted. Looks like the butter is all melted. Now we're ready to go ahead and start adding in the flour. I've got 1/2 cup of flour. Let's go ahead and pour it in, mix it up, and it's gonna get really pasty, which is just what we want for gravy. Okay, so as you can see, the flour has absorbed all of the butter, which is perfect. Now we're ready to start adding milk. I've got 4 cups of whole milk. Okay. Now, as we've learned in previous shows, we never want to pour all of the liquid in at the same time when we're making a sauce or gravy, or it'll just clump up. And we want to be very careful. So we want this on a fairly low heat and pour in about 1 cup at a time. All right. Get it added in there and start stirring. Okay, low heat and stir, 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 or you're going to end up with clumpy gravy. We don't want to do that. Break all this up as quickly as you can. You get it smooth and creamy. Okay, I've got all the flour mixed in and creamy now. Notice that the bottom of my pan starts to thicken up really quick. So that's when we want to go ahead and start adding more milk. So I'm going to add in about another cup of milk. There we go. And stir that in and just keep stirring. Remember to get the bottom really good because that's where it starts to thicken the quickest. Okay, we're starting to thicken up at the bottom of the pan again. So keep stirring so you don't get lumps. Now let's go ahead and add in another cup of the milk. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to let that thicken and keep stirring. Looks like it's time to add in the 4th cup of milk. Let's go ahead and do that. There we go. That's all our milk. Remember, keep stirring because it's going to thicken at the bottom first. If you're not stirring all the way to the bottom, you're going to burn your gravy. So just keep stirring and stirring. It'll thicken up and it's going to be perfect. Well, the gravy is thickened up. It's at the perfect consistency. Now we just need to add a little flavor to it. So we're going to do that with a little bit of salt and pepper. I have a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. Let's pour it in. Now I got to tell you, when I start stirring in the pepper, it's going to look like it's a lot. But this gravy is really best with a lot of pepper. So let's get that stirred in. This is just a good old Southern cream gravy. It's going to be delicious. All right, that is it for the gravy. It is ready. Now we're going to turn that off and set it aside. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now that the gravy is ready, the next thing we do is make the egg mixture. To do that, I need to get another bowl. Let's get that taken care of. All right. I've got a medium-sized mixing bowl. Now I'm going to add the first ingredient, which is 8 eggs. Let's go ahead and crack them in the bowl. Okay, I put all my eggs, there's 8 eggs in my bowl. I'm going to whisk them together just like you're making scrambled eggs. Break them all up, mix it together really well. Now we're going to mix in a 1/2 cup of whole milk. Okay. Next, we're going to add in some seasoning. I've got a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and I like to add just a little extra oomph to it, and I'm using Cajun seasoning for that, and that is a 1/2 teaspoon of Cajun seasoning. And you can use whatever Cajun seasoning you like. I'm adding enough to just add a little extra flavor, but not a lot of heat. So if you want extra heat, add more. Okay, let's whisk that together. That's perfect, doesn't take long. And the last ingredient to add in here is cheese. I have 2 cups of cheddar cheese. I'm gonna add about 1.5 cups. I'm gonna save a little bit to top it off. All right, let's mix that together. Get the cheeses all mixed into the egg mixture. Now we're gonna pour it into a 9 by 13 baking dish. We'll cover your entire baking dish. Just make sure the cheese is spread out evenly along the bottom. There we go. All right, we're almost there. Now that sausage that we made, we're gonna put about 2/3 of it in. Just sprinkle it all around. Okay, this is looking perfect. Next, we're gonna add the biscuits. Now this is gonna be really simple. I'm just using canned biscuits. It's already popped open. I'm using the extra large, the grande eggs, grande biscuits, which is great. I'll need actually about a 1.5 cans. If you're using the smaller biscuits, you'll need 2 full cans. So let's just go ahead and layer these on here. There we go. Now, as you can see, I'm gonna have about 4 biscuits left over. That's fine. I'll put them on a cookie sheet and bake them too, because some people might just want a biscuit. All right, I've got my biscuits and my eggs and my sausage. Next, we have to coat it with the gravy that we made. Let's go ahead and pull that back in. Now, in my gravy, I have a slotted spoon. That's not gonna work for this, so we're gonna use just a regular spoon here. Okay, let's do this. All right. Just go ahead and cover everything. You don't want to completely cover it. Just add a nice little, make sure every biscuit has a little bit of gravy. There we go. Now you're gonna see I'm gonna have a lot of gravy left over, and that's great because some people will want extra gravy on the side, which is delicious. Now, we still have some sausage left over. Let's go ahead and put the rest of the sausage on. Let's sprinkle it over the top. It's perfect. Sausage is all used up. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit more gravy. Okay, that looks really good. Everything's got gravy, everything's got sausage. Now that last little bit of cheese, we're gonna go ahead and put it on top of the biscuits. It looks so good already. Be yummy. Now, you also need to be aware too that the biscuits are gonna really grow in the oven. They're gonna take up that little extra space that you have in between your eggs and biscuits. It's gonna be great. All right, that's it. This is ready to go in the oven. We're gonna bake it for 35 minutes at 350 degrees. Let's take care of that now. The timer's gone off. That means our casserole is ready. Let's get it out of the oven. Oh, take a look at this. This is beautiful. It looks delicious. Oh, I can't wait to serve this up. All right, now while our casserole is baking, I also put those last few biscuits in the oven too, so they're all browned and ready to go too. So maybe you have a guest that just wants biscuits and jelly, and you're ready. All right, let's go ahead and get a plate and serve this up. What do you think? Okay, I've served up the biscuit. Let's go ahead and put a little more gravy on the side because, you know, I just really like gravy. Let's go ahead and do that. We've got plenty. Oh, that looks delicious. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Get a little biscuit with egg and the gravy on it. Now that is truly a Southern delicacy. Your guest will love this. It'll be a special treat, especially if they're not from the South. And if they are from the South, they're gonna be so excited they get biscuits and gravy. You're gonna be a huge hit. Now, the nice thing about this recipe is that it serves a lot of people, and you can make it the night before if you want to. Just put it in the refrigerator and bake it the next morning. This is perfect. And that concludes this episode of Harvest Kitchen. We'll see you next time.